Hey everyone, so in this video I'm going to be explaining Project 1, breaking down genres. So this is really just the prompt, and I highlighted the parts that you really need to be paying attention to in order to understand what I'm expecting from you. So for this first paper, you're going to be closely analyzing two artifacts that address a current issue or event related to your selected activist cause. So the cause or movement or whatever you're going to be looking at should have been stated in your introductory discussion board post. If you haven't done that, please go back and edit so that I can see what you're going to be focusing on this semester. So when I say the word artifact, that's something that you might not necessarily have encountered before, but it's really just a text or a material that conveys meaning. So that means that you're not limited to just alphabetic text like an article or a book or a poster. You could look at an image. You could look at a social media account. You're not limited to what kind of text you're looking at. In fact, we want to see diversity in what you're going to be analyzing. So you're going to be picking two artifacts. However, rather than analyzing their content, you're going to be considering how each of the two artifacts function in a rhetorical manner. Now you might be like, what does she mean by rhetorical manner? Well, what I mean by that is that we're going to be looking at the rhetorical situation that these artifacts are placed in. And we're going to do so by comparing and contrasting these two texts, looking specifically at the aspects of rhetorical situation at play or that you find coming through the text. And then you're also going to be looking at genre conventions. Okay, so let's focus in on how to choose your texts. So the subject matter of the two texts should be related to your selected activist cause, but the delivery of information should be different, meaning that you really should not have two of the same genres here. We want two different genres. So you should not be picking to look at two articles, even if those articles are published by different newspapers or journals. That's not going to go well. You don't want to do that. You're going to make your life 100 times harder doing that. So what I mean by this is that you could look at a podcast in an article. You could look at a book and a TED Talk. You could look at a social media account, like an Instagram, and also look at a Twitter page. You could look at the homepage of your activist group or cause and compare it to other artifacts that have come out related to it, contesting it, whatever. As long as there's a common thread of focus about the organization or event or the cause or its mission, then you're good. But they have to be two very different genres. The more the genres differ, the easier it will be for you to consider how their conventions impact information sharing. And that's the key here. We're trying to see how is a message conveyed. We're not going to be analyzing the message itself. I don't care what the message is that you're looking at. I want to know how the decisions being made by the composer impact the way that the audience experiences the message, and how successful is it based off the decisions that the creator has made. Okay, so now let's look at an example real quick. For instance, I could be focusing my movement this semester on women's rights. It's kind of broad. That's okay. Maybe I'm interested in the current feminist wave and how things are kind of playing out for equal rights and that kind of thing. So looking at women's rights, my first artifact could be the film Bombshell, directed by Jay Roach, which addresses sexual harassment in the workplace, specifically looking at the scandal that took place at Fox News in 2017. So the genre itself is a movie, but I can get more specific about the genre, which I expect you all to be doing in this paper, and that's actually addressed in another video that you're going to be watching for the class. Now, my second artifact could actually be the 2017 Women's March. I realize that this isn't an article. This isn't something that I can look at occurring in real time right now, like a movie, but I can go and look at photographs of the Women's March and talk about how that event conveyed a message, right? We had women wearing those pink pussy hats on their heads. We had people holding protest signs. It was following the Trump election. It was a very turbulent time for women's rights, and they were addressing a lot of different things. So I can kind of analyze the rhetorical situation of a march, of an event, and compare how that message is conveyed versus that of a message that a movie presents. And as you can see on the third point on this slide, consider the rhetorical appeals, which is ethos, pathos, logos, my target audience. So who are these artifacts being made for? Bombshell is being made for a movie audience, right? But who's going to be watching this? Who is it directed towards? The 2017 Women's March was a political statement. That was the population coming together to take a stand and be, hey, we will not tolerate what is happening. You kind of have to think about the genres, right? So why do people take these up? For instance, if I was looking at a Twitter account, I would think, okay, well, the tweets are highly circulated, right? You're reaching a large population group. You encourage audience participation. What does that do to the message that's trying to be conveyed? So this is kind of like the way I want you guys to be thinking as you approach this project. So in order to be successful, you need to have a very strong understanding of what rhetorical situation is and a strong understanding of genre and genre conventions and how to analyze a text for that. I want to be super clear. In the past, you guys have probably written papers analyzing what is said, right? By artifacts, you might analyze a book and talk about like imagery, character development, something like that. We're not doing that here. Instead, we're looking at specifically the tools used, in a sense, to create a situation that allows for a message to be conveyed. So for you guys to better understand this, I've listed below a few places to go and look. So for instance, your Bedford Book of Genres, your textbook for the class, that's going to be your go-to source for information here. So chapter 1 addresses rhetorical situation directly. There's also a few videos connected to Canvas that I highly suggest you look at. You're also going to have a discussion board post, I believe, due later this week that actually has you kind of play around with rhetorical situation. And then you're also going to be looking at chapter 2 to get a better understanding of what I mean by genre. And then chapter 3 of your textbook actually explains how the two are connected. Okay. So writing the paper itself, you need to just be really aware of genre. So not only are you going to be analyzing the genre of your 2 selected artifacts, but you are also going to be composing in a different genre that's not your typical essay. So you have the choice to write like an article, you could do a podcast, or you're actually speaking, or you could do a blog. The idea here is that you're going to have an opportunity to kind of not only analyze genres, but also mess around with the genre and kind of get a better understanding of how you can convey the message that you want with the paper through these different genre options. And it's just going to force you to kind of elevate your understanding of the course terms. And it's also a chance for you guys to kind of play around with a genre that you normally don't write in or compose in. So for instance, a podcast would be really cool to have a discussion with someone about the artifacts that you're looking at, following those conventions. And we can totally have one-on-one discussions about this if you're still confused about my expectations with it. Okay, so the paper itself has to be a minimum of 1,600 words, and then you're going to be writing a 200-word reflection. Now that reflection is really important because that allows me to kind of see what you thought went well in the paper, what you thought you struggled with, your growth as a writer, and that kind of thing. And I'll be posting a little bit more about what I expect to see in a reflection, but it's really just a moment for you guys to kind of look at what you did and be like, okay, wow, I did a lot, or okay, this did not go okay with me. And that's all right. I just want to kind of see how it went. And this project is going to be taken through 3 drafts with 2 peer review sessions. So it's really important that you guys are completing the tasks on time with this paper, especially since it's a little different than how you normally write. Okay, so All the due dates are going to be found on the assignment sheet, which you can find on Canvas. It's under files, and then it's also found in your modules. When you click on the individual assignments, the prompt has been connected to all submission portals. I hope this was helpful for you guys to better understand what I'm expecting for this project, and please feel free to reach out with any other questions. Bye.